Oh, this is Daniel Thomas Andrew Daly here. This is a Noahide sermon on the dawn of civilization. A Rainbow Torah sermon on the dawn of civilization. Now, of course, civilization begins with Adam, the first man. Adam's the one first learning how to function as a human in this world, and how to live, to gather food, and to find places appropriate to rest, and to get along with nature, to work it out with nature. And then we have Eve, and they're the first couple, and they're working out original relationship principles, I suppose, for a married couple. And we see as time progresses some moral rules coming in through Cain's lesson, and Enoch walking with God, and Noah being called to build a flood, and salvation principles at work, God saving Noah, and the beginning of a covenant and stipulations not to murder, to put to death murderers, and not to partake of blood. And there's a basic moral code and sense of lawfulness going on. So that core infrastructure of civilizations, relationship principles and moral code and things like that, they're found in early Genesis. Early Genesis, the Rainbow Torah is the basic foundation stone for civilization. Now, there's a lot of things which are introduced early on. There were some things I want to particularly talk about in this video on the dawn of civilization. Is the dawn of the infrastructure or societal development, how nations advance and bring in new industry and technology and things like that. There's a couple of passages I want to quote in the Rainbow Torah. This is from Genesis chapter 4, verses 19 to 22. Then Lamech took for himself 2 wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the second was Zillah. And Ada bore Jabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of those who play the harp and flute. And as to Zillah, she also bore Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every craftsman in bronze and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. That's from Genesis 4. And this passage from Genesis 10. And Genesis 9, verse 20. And Noah began to be a farmer and planted a vineyard. Then he drank of the wine and was drunk and became uncovered in his tent, and so forth. Now, Noah became a farmer and was planted a vineyard and made wine. So farmed the land. And we see here that the sister of Tubal-Cain, child of Lamech, was Naamah. And in Jewish tradition, although it's not specified in Scripture, in Jewish tradition, Naamah was the wife of Noah. In the Noah movie starring Russell Crowe, they call Jennifer Connelly's character Naamah, his wife. Now, we don't really know for sure if that's true. Jewish tradition has a lot of fable in it, but it might be true. But one thing which might indicate that possibly is that it says that he was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock, about Jabal. And about Jubal, he was the father of all those who play the harp and flute. And Tubal-Cain was an instructor of every craftsman in bronze and iron. Now, this is Cain's seed, and Lamech is through Cain. But this line of Cain are considered the fathers of these industries within civilization. These basic foundational things. Livestock, tents, musical instruments, and crafting in bronze and iron, metalwork. Foundational things for society. and they're called the fathers of them. And it says, interestingly, that the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. So, when it comes to Noah, Noah's from another line, from the line of Seth, not Cain's line, from Adam. But Noah married a woman, and Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, married women. And while we're all descended from Noah, we're also all descended from Noah's wife. And many of us are descended, well, we're all descended from the three wives of Noah's sons. Not every human society is from all three sons, but a lot of us are probably from all three sons. Now, it's a possibility, this is speculation somewhat, that the blood of these people, the blood of Enoch's line, carried on through maybe the wife of Noah, maybe that was Naamah, or the wives of Noah's sons. So possibly these being the fathers of all those who do those things, Jabal and Jubal and Tubal-Cain, possibly their seed lived on through the wives of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Possibly that's how it worked. Possibly they still are the fathers of an industry. Possibly that's still true. It says it gives the impression that it's to this day of when the scriptures are written, which I think seems to be a latter date. It gives that impression. He was the father of all those. It gives the impression that it's still in place, that it's still valid. I don't know, maybe the seed was wiped out. Maybe that was just the original creative impulses in the early world prior to the flood. But perhaps they did live on. It's a matter of speculation. Regardless, Noah and Shem, Ham, and Japheth and their wives, they knew this knowledge somewhat. They knew knowledge. God has told me Noah was a pretty cluey fellow, and they knew this knowledge. And after the flood, society rebounded and started developing again. Noah lived a fairly long time after the flood, a good few centuries, and so did his sons. And society developed from those core infrastructure ideas to the world we have of this complex world in the 21st century today. So we see how in the Rainbow Torah, what was learnt by humanity in that era, our foundational religious teaching from God, the core aspects of a moral code and a legal code and relationship principles, and there are other principles like environmental concerns and other things, and concerns for animals. And we also see core foundational principles on developing industry and technology in society, and culture with development of musical instruments, and farming and industry with the development of farming by Jabal, who's developed livestock, and Noah, who developed wine, and shelter, housing, Jabal, who was the father of also those who dwell in tents. So it made tents, shelter for us. That's a very big part of human society, a home to live in. And Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every craftsman in bronze and iron. So metalwork. So we see here how the early patriarchs and matriarchs, perhaps somewhat to an extent, the early patriarchs did get the ball rolling on how society is to develop and complexify and become more advanced and elaborate and intricate. They didn't just leave it as a basic Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve scenario. They did stuff. Civilization didn't just sit still. It progressed. a big part of our human society in political thought and of people who work towards building their nation and empires is that we progress. We're going somewhere. We're achieving something. We're making a better world for ourselves. And we can see that, as I've just said, they didn't leave it at just the Garden of Eden or a basic naturalistic society. They progressed and civilization was born. Thank you.